Welcome back, everybody. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Aaron. We're coming back at you guys with another Crypto Cosm Deep Dive. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the key.
The key. Who is the key?
Well, we're going to tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. Just kidding. So, the key. You know, to be honest with you, I checked over this coin probably about 3 to 4 weeks ago when it really first started getting on the market. So it hit the markets in February. Okay, it released at the ICO price was 3.5 cents. 3.5 cents. Now the normal patterns that we see for a coin coming out once it hits the markets is we see that first sharp increase of everybody that didn't get on an ICO are like, okay, I gotta get in now. And then those people get really, really pissed off when it dives down to the ground. And here we are 6, 7, 8 weeks later, and we're at 1.3 cents. So we started out at 3.5, jumped up to 4 after the ICO, after we hit the market on KuCoin.
And down to 1.3.
1.3 cents. So I took a look at this coin 3 to 4 weeks ago. And doing my normal review, how I get down, I started to take a look at the website. The website is horrible.
It's like a Rubik's Cube.
It's horrible. It's backwards. I don't know if it's a Chinese thing where they read left to or right to left, but there's just so I don't know if it gets lost in translation. They just don't care what it looks like in other languages, etc. I can't tell. And
that's complicated when you're saying it looks like their roadmap to December 2018 looks like on their website that it's completed, but then when you actually look it up to see it's not. It's not completed.
We did not launch the
mainnet
yet.
How the website reads, it is. So it is confusing if you check it out. It is kind of
So I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here, but I revisited this coin because the key was at consensus. And it made me raise a little bit of an eyebrow. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to check out a few other reviews. And I did. I put about 2-3 hours into different reviews. And I've got some different perspectives on the actual coin. So while my first review was kind of stopped abruptly about halfway through the white paper, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put this to the side for now. But the sequence of events has brought it back, and that's why we're talking about it now. So let's talk a little bit about the key. What is it? What problem do they solve? So
That's the biggest one to me. What problem do they solve? What does this unlock?
That's it.
What do you unlock? What do you do?
Why do I want to put my money into this key, this coin? And they're a first to the market IDV, Identification Validation System.
So that's fingerprint scanner? Is it retina scanner? Is it voice recognition?
So let's talk about that a little bit. So let's talk about, we're going to break it down into 3 layers as it is in the white paper. I'm going to explain it a little bit differently than the white paper does because we like to kind of break it down to appeal to a greater audience. So the first layer, actually this company started out not as a blockchain company.
Okay.
And they were set up to do this with their database and have the individual user data in their database validated by the government. Okay? So personal identification information, anything that you want to keep up locked up and super safe, but yet super accessible with the touch of a button.
There it is.
So they originally started out with just a database. Well, once they looked at blockchain technology, they realized they could adapt this and put a whole security protocol layer on top of it, which makes
awesome.
it fantastic.
And it's in a broader base, more users, more outlets.
Absolutely. And let's face it. I mean, anybody who's anybody's right now is like, if you're not doing blockchain, you're not doing something right. So it really gave them a lot of heads turned when this happened. So right now they are currently piloting, I'm sorry, we're talking about the layers here. So the first layer is the database. The second layer is the blockchain layer. That's your security protocols, etc. And the third layer is your application layer. So right now what they have piloted in 3 different cities, there we go, is this mobile insurance payment.
Explain that. Break that down.
Mobile insurance payment. So individuals go into a hospital and they're getting their paperwork done, and all they have to do is hit a button. It scans their fingerprint, takes up all their information, medical information, personal information, and it's right there for use. They can actually pay,
which is awesome,
insurance payments using this coin and this application. But they have a whole application layer, which means you can build different applications for accessing this this private identification data.
Now, all right, this is like technology that we've been seeing in the movies for a long time,
Yes.
you know, things like that, but it was almost like, you know, something was implanted in your wrist, you know, and you just scan this, you know, Idiocracy, the barcode or whatever, classic one.
Barcode, chips.
Or, right, something here or wherever it is, but this now is just using your fingerprint. And another thing we've also seen in the movies forever since, like, I mean, just any of these old, like, spy movies is like, you know, I've got somebody else's fingerprints and I'm gonna I'm gonna steal your medical records or whatever it is, which is kind of crazy, but that's to an extreme. But nonetheless, this technology is something that we've seen, like that's like the flying car kind of thing, you know, and it's cool that this is finally coming out, and it's not something that's being implanted into my wrist.
Invasive.
Not right. It's just using what I already have.
Everybody's got a barcode. It's right here. Some of you guys have gotten those marked down when you were brought to the station, remember? No, I'm just kidding. But that's everybody's got a barcode right here. And they're using those things to make this more attractive to the users as well. So right now we're piloting in 3 different cities. They're setting up in 66 different cities for when the mainnet launches. So we have our test net out already. Piloting, and they have over 210 million users' personal information on their network already.
So that's a good chunk of people.
210 million people. So their roadmap only goes to 2018, the end of 2018, in December. After their mainnet right there, that's it.
We'll figure it out when we get there, right? We'll paint the picture when we get the canvas. That's not very far at all.
One of the big pieces for me was that at things like Consensus, they're talking about expanding into places like Europe and America, which is huge. Now, when I think about that, I think about Neo, and Neo's a Chinese company, and before they were Neo, before they rebranded, I think they had a lot of the similar things going on, where their stuff just wasn't up to, I'm going to say, a worldly perspective standard. So
sure.
It might have been marketed for them, for individuals who are,
and there is a bit of a barrier, let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, certainly.
And when they did their, marketing facelift and turned it around, Neo exploded. So with their direction to venture out into other continents, etc., especially being first to market, having such a huge pilot and government interaction and validation of all this information, having a working platform like that is going to be huge. Huge. And it may not make it all the way around the world. I mean, we're seeing things like the power grids. Now, we have a different coin for a power grid in Australia. We have a different coin for a power grid in Europe. We have a different coin for a power grid in America. So maybe it'll just be all throughout China.
Right, and then maybe we'll see something else adapt that same kind of technology and bring it into some other coin that can market it better for America, or who knows.
But let's just say it stayed in China. China's got 1/3 of the world's population in China. That's 6 billion people. What is it now? I think we're up to 7.5 billion, close to 8 billion now. 2 to 3 billion people.
And if everyone's adapting this technology, I mean, that's wild.
That's going to be insane. So being first to market, even if they just take the Chinese market, that's 1/3 of the world's population. That's ridiculous. So my thoughts have changed. I mean, their team, you go to LinkedIn and you check out their profiles and everything is super shallow. I mean, there's little one-liners. Oh, I worked, the president of the company is like, oh, I worked 5 months here. I was there for 11 months. I was here. Not like, oh, I was there for 10 years. I was a CEO of a $250 billion company, et cetera. Like, there is none of that. it just looks like you grabbed a couple people out of high school and threw them in the.
But sometimes it's all you need is a good idea, and you don't have to be
Absolutely
this seasoned vet to have a good idea.
So like I said, I don't know if a lot of this stuff is lost in translation, because even when you looked at their LinkedIn profiles, there's Chinese writing all over. So I'm not going to be the one to interpret that. Basing it just solely off of its business model and its application. And then they don't just have one application, which is what I really, really like, is they have the application layer. So like when I think about this, let's say it does come to America. I mean, you're sitting there and you're working with you walk into the DMV, the Secretary of State, or you walk into a courtroom, or you walk into somebody gets arrested. Yeah, it's not the greatest case scenario, but it's another scenario where it could be applied to, where all this public information is just boop, 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 boop. Be scanning fingerprints like a boss all over the place. So there's just so many different applications that you can use, and that's one of the things that's really, really appealing to me.
What happens if you get a blister? That's something that it's like one of those random things I think in the back of my head. If we all switch over to this technology, which would be great, your driver's license is here, your credit card is here. Well, I don't know, maybe you'd have a different. This is the Visa, this is the MasterCard, the American Express, your debit card. I don't know, that depends. Everybody. Some people have 20 different cards. It's like I've got one. Anyway,
remember the movie Seven? The movie Seven, where the guy razors his fingerprints off.
Or all of a sudden, somebody grabs my crypto Cosm mug and they fingerprint do it, and all of a sudden they grab my phone and do the business to it.
This is going to happen to you. You're going to get locked out of your phone because you're going to get it. You're going to burn your thumb.
Well, I'm going to have I'll have the fingerprint and retina, the two-timer.
So the biometrics is another thing that's coming. So they're doing facial recognition, etc., with their mainnet launch. So they're going to have a bunch of, probably several different means of biometrics. So I don't think it's
so you can't just cut off my hand, hold my eye open.
I'm sure it'll be a series of, all of them have the smart cameras now, so exactly how that's going to play out, or if you have the application layer, it's going to be up to the application developers to be able to utilize the face recognition, fingerprint scanners.
Fingerprint, face, and voice. Open sesame.
There you go.
Ba-boom. Welcome,
now I'll have to take your voice box, too. Sorry, man.
Because then, if something were to happen.
So it's going to be interesting. So now the total coin cap is, I think, 9.7. It's a funny number, 9.76 billion. And then we're floating right now at about 4.9 billion in circulation.
So we're close to halfway there.
We're at 1.3 cents. Now, we're also at the pattern where we have an ICO that comes out. Everybody's jumped in, so we've peaked. We hit 4 cents, and then we slid right back down. And now we're starting to make that first measure of the bull. So we'll normally see kind of a cup and handle position about 3 to 4 months after an ICO comes out. That cup and handle starts to form, and then it starts to take off on the worthwhile coins. So right now, we're sitting right at the bottom of the bull.
Yeah, that'd be between May and June.
Approximately 4 months before, 4 or 5 months before it typically starts to round out the cup shape after ICO price. And it can take longer. It depends on, the actual bull runs that are happening, and we're still consolidating right now. But I would imagine that this is probably going to be the lowest the key will get, especially being released out into 66 new cities, probably by December, and having that many millions of people's additional money transacting on this network just for mobile insurance. Well, what if we add more applications? Well, we have a consistent user base already, dumping now that much more money right on top. So if we that's great for their own marketing. It's almost like they don't even need to market because they've grown that base already. Oh, hey, guess what? We're using that same application that you're using for your phone, for your to pay your bills, to do this, to do that, and
right.
And they're all going to be like, oh, okay, well, it works for this. Guess what? We're going to start using it for this too. And we'll just start stacking. So my thoughts on this coin have actually changed very, very much. And since it dropped down from that 2 cents, now down to close to 1 cent, I'm even
more interested.
Eyeballing it more. That's like that's my favorite price.
Now, where can we pick it up?
KuCoin. KuCoin. So that's one of the. I mean, KuCoin is fantastic. I don't know if you guys have used KuCoin or not, but the security measures and things like that for coins are excellent. They don't have the greatest of interfaces, and some individuals might have some trouble in navigating and finding their way. But if they've worked with any of the other ones, 2 or 3 of the other ones, you definitely have the skills to use to get that actual coin. But that's another thing is when it starts opening up in different exchanges,
right?
We're going to be working with a lot more volume as well. So we have
very minimal volume. It's limited to just KuCoin right now.
It's limited to just. I think there's one more on there. It's at you guys can check coinmarketcap.com. Search up the coin and go down to the markets instead of charts, and it will show you all the available ones that it's on. But right now, it's really mainly only on KuCoin. There is another one, but it's probably another decentralized exchange that I'm not super familiar with at all. If anybody was interested, I would definitely recommend going to KuCoin because it's probably the most user-friendly.
Sounds good.
Most user-friendly.
So what else can you tell us about the key? What else is jumping out at you that's just... I mean, they have a roadmap to December 2018. They have a brilliant idea that you can build upon, which is awesome. I mean, and it's multiple layers, like you're saying, of identity. And so there's protection involved. There's again, multiple sources of applications that this can be linked to and utilized to, which is really fantastic to see, like what the future of this technology can bring to the table. So what else do we need to know about the key that you see as like something that's really great or red flags?
Well, like I said, as far as the team goes and the actual website, I am not thrilled in the slightest. I mean, I am looking at it from a technological standpoint, the actual technology and the business that's in place and is proven to be working. I guess in the future, one of the main things that I am going to be hoping for in terms of, yes, I will be an investor of this coin. I am not right now. The biggest thing that I'll be looking for is something like a rebranding.
And what do you think that could do for them?
I think that rebranding would hopefully market itself and open itself up to other regions of the world. That's what I'm going to be looking for. That's going to be one of my hopes. And if we do see something like that, or even smell a whiff of a rumor, we will be on here for you guys right away. Absolutely, 100%. I think that could be a huge turning point to a company such as this. And then I'm also going to be taking a very close look at how that roadmap expands.
Yeah, I mean, because they've got to be updating it more than just, hey, by the end of the year. I mean, if it's let's ask this. Do you say, is there up to December 18 roadmap? Is it a solid vision?
Yes, because they're going to go from 3 to 66 cities. I mean, that's a huge jump. We have 3 cities that are online making transactions right now. So we're hovering at right around $45 billion within this coin environment. $45 billion. If that's investors and 3 cities, let's take a portion of that just to be conservative. I don't know. I don't even know how much to say. Even if it was, 4 to 5 million. 4 to 5 million. We take that and times it by 60, and we're getting a considerable chunk, and we're looking at 5, 6, 7 times growth maybe. By the time these 66 cities are launched, there's going to be some considerable measure of growth, I think, within that.
So that sounds promising.
And yeah, and after that pilot, I think, comes up, and they've worked out any of the kinks that they've had, they're going to be able to expand rather quickly. I mean, if the government is working with them already, I think the government has a lot to gain from it.
And that's big. And once the Chinese government is on board with it, because they were like, kind of like, we know crypto is coming. We know we can't stop it, but we don't really want to sign on with yours. We're going to make our own proprietary thing. And the fact that they're open to this idea to me, that is a big deal to me.
Absolutely.
That's huge. Huge.
Well, they were having a lot of issues with the Know Your Own Customer in China. So it's interesting now that they are taking a look at identification validation, hence blockchain, hence knowing your customer. What types of interactions is this going to have, and how is this going to help cryptocurrency grow in this environment?
And just just crypto in itself becoming more popular and being on everyone's phone. And it's funny, I've talked about openly before, I do not have a lock on my phone. Anybody could just grab it and get into my anything. And right, which is freeing in one aspect, and in the other, it's, man, if I lost my phone, I could be in some serious trouble when it comes to some of my, but my crypto stuff is on lock. You know, you could get into my phone, but you couldn't get into that stuff. Nonetheless, the point of this full circle here is just, you know, with crypto being, you know, it's like, well, once, you know, iPods were the new thing, okay, well, we need to start putting the aux jack into the car.
Sure.
You know, so it's just like we had to adapt. These different companies had to adapt, and knowing that we're going to have crypto and all of these services on our devices, so we're going to start seeing what was like a luxury on the high-end model of fingerprint scanning. I think is going to become a very normal thing, and even iris scanning. And I think this technology could very easily be utilized within that. You know, again, whether it's the key or whether there's another company is already in the works creating that here on our soil, or who, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're definitely going to keep a closer eye on this one as we progress. We're only 2 months in once this coin has hit the exchange. So it's only been 8 weeks. And like I said, we've already came up, we swooped down, and it's probably going to be another two, maybe 3 months, depending on when the next bull run comes, before we start to finish off that cup formation for this actual one. But that's also going to be in line with them coming closer to their mainnet release, and individuals are probably going to be dropping that money. And just like we saw Tron's mainnet release is in what now, 12 to 19 days, right around 2 to 3 weeks. And I mean, we've really doubled in price of Tron. We went from 4 cents to 8 cents now just for their mainnet release. So mainnet releases are a big deal for coins. So December is going to be, especially if it lines up with the Mega Bull Run, as we've done the last 2 years, it could be a really great time for this coin at this price point. So whether you guys think that's a great idea or not, leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you guys think. Are you investing? Are you not? Why? Tell us more.
The key.
The key.
Is it right for you? Does it fit your lock? Does it fit in your wallet?
Thanks again for joining us here. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and the notification button down there so you guys don't miss a beat. Thanks for joining us here again on
Crypto Cosm.